Most of the locations that I've been visiting have been managed by their city or by the county. Today's location is different. Calvin University has an ecosystem preserve that's across from their main campus and open to the general public. Let's go take a look. The morning sun is just hitting this wetlands area just right. So you've got some shadows still coming in from other trees, and you've got some warm light on the vegetation. By backing up a little bit and including some of this vegetation in the foreground, now I'm going to add some depth to my image. And it's going to draw the viewer into the image a little bit more because they can start at the front and their eye is going to move towards the back. And don't forget about the details in here too. There's a little plant life with just a little bit of highlights on them that you can capture as well. I like how this light is illuminating the forest floor over here. So I want to take a picture of that to capture that light and what it's doing to the landscape. But let's talk about composition. If I take it from right here, you can see that the tree in the foreground is dead center in my composition. For a more dynamic composition, let's talk about angles. So if I move over to this direction, I'm going to shift that tree so not only is it not in the center, but the light spillage and the flow of it across the ground is on an angle going through the image on a slant instead of a straight line going through the center of the image. And mimicking that angle are the fallen limbs and actually the slope of the land as well. So you're emphasizing this angle in your shot, which adds just a little bit more to your composition. So I know this area doesn't look the most attractive as far as color and content, but I'm going to use the reflection and what little water there is in my composition because I think that's intriguing. So think about when you're by areas of water that are still, you get this mirroring effect of whatever it's reflecting. And you can use that to elongate the content and just add something extra to your image. So let's continue to talk about angles. So here's another ray of light coming through, lighting up the ground. And I want to capture the highlights on the grasses and on the plants. And I've got this fallen limb, but it's almost a horizontal line in my image. And even if I drop down and use it as a backdrop to the grasses, it's still a horizontal flat line. So I'm going to move, and I'm going to move so that the fallen limb is on a diagonal. And then when I drop down again, I've got the tree trunk in the background. I've got the ray of light crisscrossing the fallen limbs. So you've got some dynamic angles helping to enhance your composition. When I was at Blandford, I talked about taking pictures of the trail and to look in front and behind you when you were walking along the trail, because maybe it looks different behind you than when you were walking through it. So this is one trail here at the Calvin ecosystem, and you can see the curve in it, that it meanders. So I'm going to want to take a picture of that on an angle because it's going to add to that meandering line. Now if I turn and capture the other end of the trail, it's all straight lines. The trail is straight lines, the trees are straight lines, and you've got the fallen logs, the fallen trees that mark the trail. Those are straight lines. So in this case, I'm going to center the trail, and that's going to emphasize the straightness of it all. And I'm even going to drop down a little bit. So you're going to have this almost plus symbol of the straight line going through, the straight lines of the trees, and then the straight lines of the fallen trees to emphasize all the straight lines. So you can mix up your composition, mix up the dynamic angles, mix up the leading lines, depending on the content of your shot. I've been talking a lot about dynamic angles on this video today, and look at how this plant is growing on an angle. So it's going to make a great image. Why? Because of the slant of the stem. It's on an angle. And the highlighted blossoms are in the forefront, and behind it is a shadowy area, so the blossoms are going to stand out all the more. And I'm going to use the tree trunk to anchor the shot. So now we're going to talk about balance in an image. So the balance in this image is the heaviness of the tree trunk on one side and the delicate highlighted flowers on the other side with the dark space behind it. And then you've got the dynamic angle of the stems that are drawing your eye through and into the image. Okay, it's tom tree time. Here's a tree that caught my interest. Can you guess why? If you said it's because of the scars on the tree trunk, that's part of the reason, but I also like the shadows. And the shadows from the leaves are right in the part of the tree that makes it so interesting as well. So I have a couple elements that added together are going to make for a more interesting shot. So consider that when you're composing your image. Maybe there's a couple elements that you want in your shot that are going to enhance each other instead of just one subject of interest. I like the play of the light on the base of that tree trunk in the middle of the marshy water in the distance, but I'm not willing to cross the path to get to it. At this ecosystem preserve, you can see that the trails are very deliberate. They've been covered with wood chips or gravel and bordered with wood, and this trail that other people started is blocked by fallen logs. So again, it's very important to stay on the main trail because you don't want to destroy what you want to enjoy. So I'm going to take a picture from this distance away, and that's the picture I'm going to get, but I think it's still going to work. So behind me you see one of the wetlands, and while it is interesting to look at and I can get some images of, there's something more intriguing to me. Down here you can see some highlights on some of the plant life, and while the angle is just straight down, it's giving me details of the area that I'm looking for. With 44 acres of wetlands and forests, the Kelvin Ecosystem Preserve has 260 species of plants, For more information, check out kelvin.edu. Thanks for exploring with me. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you liked it and learned something new. If you did, consider subscribing to my channel and getting notified when a new video posts. And I hope to see you out on the trails.